up, y'all? So I made it back from doing Lutsen 99er this weekend, and this is a race that takes place in the, what's it called? The Sawtooth Mountains in northern Minnesota. This was my first time in Minnesota in general, and it was cool. I did stay in Duluth. Hotels in the area were pretty dang pricey. I went there solo. It was just me, so I couldn't justify getting a hotel on my own. So I stayed in a hostel. It was called Zenith Base Camp in Duluth, and it was awesome. I had my own lockable room too, so as a solo female traveler, I want to point out, like, it was sick. I felt safe the whole time, never once felt uncomfortable, still had my private space. It was about an hour and 45 or so minute drive, and I was just driving straight up like the coast of the North Shore of Lake Superior. That whole area is called the North Shore. Made me feel very beachy. But it was a really chill drive, and I actually liked it because it gave me time to eat breakfast and like have all my caffeine. I had a coffee and a Red Bull, was super caffeinated. I got there like 5:45-ish. It just was a very chill morning. Did not mind the drive. Gave me time to get organized, get settled, do a little bit of a spin out ride. I don't know if you can see across the road is Onion River Road. So you come down that, it's like a gravel, 5-ish mile gravel descent. And then you pop across the highway onto what I am currently on, which is just like a greenway, pretty much all the way up the North Shore on my drive up here. So this is how the race ends, and then coming up here, we're gonna go under, like through a tunnel under the highway, and then that'll get us like back up towards, I think it's called Superior Golf Course, where the race starts and ends. I got all my batteries on my bike. I did not drive with the batteries on my flight attendant because Jesse and I have learned before, driving with batteries on your flight attendant, the flight attendant is just working the whole time, and then the batteries die. So I looked down at my fork and I noticed all of the flight attendant lights are they're just going off. Like every single one. And I was like, it's not supposed to be doing that. So I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna go up to the start corral and go from there. The race starts at 7:30. I had plenty of time. I got there just before 7. And I just hopped in the corral and I was just texting Jesse, like, hey, so my suspension's not working. Before I texted him, I had a spare battery in my pocket because, you know, I'm super prepared, and swapped that out with my shock. So I was clicking all the axis buttons and the shock one wasn't lighting up. Got on the app and swapped the battery and it still wasn't working. I text Jesse, hey, so my flight attendant's not working. I think my shock is broke. And I have never received a call quicker in my life. Typically, if I'm reaching out to Jesse, I don't hear back immediately, but immediately I get a call, and he was like going through it all with me. And he's like, okay, take out the battery and put it back in. And no offense, Jesse, in my head, I was like, well, no shit, man. Like, that's the first thing I did. I was like, I already did a new battery. And so he was like, just do it again anyway. So this time I took out the battery and I just, with my gloved finger, I just wiped off the contact points, put it back in, and then immediately I could just feel like the fork come to life. It did its little thing. I heard all the noises, and then we were good to go. Got that sorted out. I had flight attendant during the race. My contact points on where the battery goes in for the shock, they're just a little dirty, needed cleaned, but
Usually
we're all
flight
good.
attendant troubleshooting involves just making sure that something has power. If it's not working, that's usually what's going on. Just trying to double check is the way to fix it.
Yeah, it was a super easy fix. And then right after that, had someone come up to me, shout out to Finn. Finn was awesome, who watches our videos. He's like, hey, are you chasing the bicycle station? I was like, yeah, hi, it's me. In the flesh, I'm here. Super nice, asking me like, oh, have you ridden here at all? And I was like, I drove a little bit of the course, but no. And thank you, Finn, for giving me a rundown of the ATV trails. He was just kind of explaining to me what they were like a little bit before the race. Super cool, super fun to talk to. It's fun to talk to everyone during the race that came up. It was fun to chat with Finn a little bit before the start. The original reason that I signed up for Lutsen, it's a Leadville qualifier. My original game plan was to sign up, go to it, race, obviously, and then try to qualify for Leadville. I ended up getting a Leadville entry thanks to Paul Normal. I didn't need to go to this race to qualify anymore, but I'd already signed up. So I figured it was a really good opportunity for me to go and test out my equipment. And if you've been watching any of our recent race content with me in it, you'd probably know I've been having a lot of stomach issues and a lot of issues with nutrition on the bike. So I figured this was a really good opportunity for me to go get a 100-mile race under my belt and test out all of the gear on the bike, but also my nutrition plan. Parts of it were really great. Parts of it I thought up a little bit, but now I know where I need to fix it. Before I start talking about the race, I'm about to mention so many products in this video. If you see anything that interests you, or if you have something that you want that we don't have, let us know. You can head to thebicyclestation.com and buy stuff. It's the best way to support the channel. The race starts out with a neutral rollout along a highway. You're just on that for just a couple miles, and then you start up a larger paved climb that was pretty hefty. At that point, once we hit the paved climb, it was kind of a free-for-all. The neutral rollout ended. I did kind of feel like I almost got wrecked out in the neutral rollout, but I didn't. This guy almost went down right in front of me. Thank you, sir, for not crashing and saving it and saving the rest of us. Good job. Sorry if I publicly shamed you just now. I know it wasn't your fault. It was a lot going on. That happened and I was like, oh, fuck. Made it like 10 feet. Here we go. Started hitting the climb and I was very closely paying attention to, like, obviously going hard. Didn't want to soft pedal up the climb because it's a race, but I also didn't want to totally burn myself out at the very, very beginning. And that was probably one of the larger climbs of the day. Definitely was, without a doubt, looking at the aggressiveness.
It was the biggest one
on my map of the altitude climb, but that was super fun. I mean, I just talked to so many people on the climb. It was awesome. Shout out to the guy that was like, hey, love the channel, like, thanks for the tire recommendation. And I look over, I'm like, huh? And then I see the Vittoria logo. So you are welcome, sir. I hope they were great for you during the rest of the race. So that was fun. It's like throughout the entire race, it was just having people say that they like the channel and also telling me how sad they were that Jesse and Trey weren't there. So I'm sorry, it was just me. I'll bring someone else with me next time. Basically, breaking this race down, there you do, like, I'm gonna call it like 3 little loops. So the race intersects on itself a lot. So pretty quick, once you get to the top of the pavement, you're on gravel. The gravel there is packed, sandy type dirt. It was very fast. The first ATV trail, super chill, also really fast. As we got a little bit further into it, around mile 20-ish or so was when I started to get into more of the mud puddles, all that. Could still ride through it. It definitely slowed me down a little bit. Was not terrible at all, especially in previous years. Any research that I did on this race, all I was seeing was just a shitload of mud. And I was like, what did I sign up for? But getting into it, I was like, oh, cool. This is just fast. This is pretty chill. All great. And the first muddy sections is when I really had a good amount of appreciation for Jesse's tire recommendation. I ended up doing a mezcal in the front and a peyote in the rear, just to give me a little bit more traction in the muddy spots, and then the peyotes are still just fast. And there were some areas I could definitely feel like my rear slipping out a little bit, but that was just like by the time I was through the end of the mud puddle. They were absolutely amazing. I have never loved a tire setup more than the Vittoria Mezcal Peyote. You need this on your bike. You won't regret it. Buy them right now. We have them in stock. That was absolutely phenomenal. So then from there, got through it's kind of hard for me. I'm losing my bearings a little bit because my map is only showing like 1 aid station on here.
And the timing was all messed up. You went through the mile 20 checkpoint, and then the next checkpoint that tripped
was like the first aid station.
Yeah, but then it literally did not update until you were at mile 70 or 60 or something like that. So like I just thought you were like, I honestly thought you might have had to quit, but then
nope.
Everybody's time was messed up. So I was like, oh, it looks like.
Originally, I sent this like big text to Jesse and my dad, and I was like, hey, here's where to track me. There's checkpoints at like, it's like mile 12, 20, kind of like probably close to every 14 miles or so, because that's also the spacing of the aid stations. There was an aid station about every 14 miles, which was pretty handy. I opted not to run a hydration pack. I just had the 2 bottles. So I made it through the first aid station, didn't stop at that one. That was around mile 22. And then we were back on gravel, and I was feeling phenomenal. I was stoked. I was feeling great. I've mentioned multiple times this was a very fast race. Everyone was just in pace line. I had a really, really good group. They're going through the gravel sections. There was like a whole line of us just in a pace line. We were cruising. Start to get broken up more whenever we would hit an ATV trail. The aid station I did stop at was like mile 32 or so. I don't know if you can see this at all. That was the far out loop over here. So I stopped like right at the.
No, we can't see it.
You can just look it up and use your imagination. But it was like a big, almost 30-mile loop. Only the 99er distance did that loop. The rest of the course, there's a lot of overlap with the distances. But oh my God, that loop sucked. I was really feeling great. Got to that aid station, refilled my bottles, started going, and I just slowly started feeling myself deteriorate. But hit the next section of ATV trail, and it was just so rocky and chunky that it just wore me down. And this is where I realized I wasn't eating as much as I should be. Started the race with 1 bottle of Good Life Carbs Mix, because that has done really well for me in training and hasn't upset my stomach. And then I had 1 bottle of hydration mix. And then I had in my bag, but the Carbs Fuel, what I'm calling the baby gels, because they are 25 grams of carbs instead of the 50s. The 50-gram gels I noticed really upset my stomach, because I think I'm just taking in too many carbs at once with that. So I tried the 25. That was phenomenal. So I'm stoked I can eat Carbs Fuel without dying now. Did those. What I think I need to do in the future, I was trying to drink the carbs mix, supplement it with the gel, kind of use those to, I don't know, supplement one another, I guess. And then I had 1 bottle of hydration. In the future, I think I just want to go with all carbs gels and just pack more of the 25 grams and then 2 bottles of hydration. I just flat out was not drinking enough. Food-wise, I felt good, but I kept running out of the hydration. So then on this 30-some mile loop, got out the ATV trail, hit the gravel again. And at that point, Jesse's gonna be so proud of me for this. I was an aero girly. For the first time ever, Jesse tried to get me to practice this once, and I was like, ooh, scary, no. I learned how to ride with my hands on the fork. And oh my God, it was phenomenal, guys.
I've been saying this.
Yeah, Jesse's not full of who knew? That was absolutely wild, because I was already like starting to feel like not great. So I got to that gravel section, just kind of put my head down, had my hands on the fork. It was nice because it gave my body a different position to be in. And then I was just kind of looking at my computer screen, and I just noticed my watts went down, like my power output, but then I was going so much faster. So I gained speed with less effort, and I was like, holy fuck. My mind was just like blown. It was insane. So I did that until I got to the next ATV section, and like I was catching people and dropping them, and I was like, whoa, look at me go. But then there was the next section of trail. That's where it really got muddy. It sucked. There were just puddles of mud. Someone riding next to me did like a little hop into a puddle of mud, and it was like a tidal wave of mud just drenched me from head to toe, and I was just getting so annoyed. I was just drenched from head to toe, was not having fun. Start to get to that mile 30 aid station again, because it's a loop, so you stop by that aid station twice. And I got there, ended up being like mile 60 something, 62-ish maybe. I was just like, holy fuck. Get me out of here. I was so done. Did stop at that aid station, had a pickle, chugged some pickle juice, refilled my bottles again, just did the hydration mix that time. And this is where I was like, the pickle gave me life, and I was cruising again, because there was a 10-mile or so stretch of just pretty smooth gravel road. I was like, okay, you know what? I'm feeling great again. I'm back in it. We're doing this. Put my hands on the fork again. I was flying.
Just
I felt
so
like
we're
the top.
Clear. Practice that before you do it.
Yeah, don't do what I did.
And you also like treat it like aero bars. You don't do that if you're behind somebody. Only do it if you're in front of somebody.
Yes. Yeah, be smart about it. Don't be dumb. It was just amazing. I was just flying. I was feeling great. I ended up with a line of people behind me. It was all great. So got through the mile like 72 or so aid station, and then hit more ATV trail. So had to get back up on my bars again. That was kind of rocky or whatever, but I was like, man, I'm still moving. Like I'm getting pretty close to the end, because in my head, from looking at the maps, once I got to that mile 82 aid station, it was pretty much all downhill. So I didn't stop at the mile 70 something aid station, skipped that one, stopped at the 82, and just got 1 bottle filled with hydration mix. So I was like, just have that for the nice descent down. God, the end of the race was just terrible. I don't know how much of this I truly got on film. I tried to record it, but I don't know how long it took me to get through that section, but it was
way too long.
Ages.
Yeah, like way
There's
too long.
definitely areas I know I could have moved faster in, but mentally I was over it, and I just gave up. I could have gone faster, but I was pissed off, and I quit pretty much. It got to the point where the mud was so like deep and thick and peanut buttery in some sections that like my bike would just stop moving. I would be pedaling along, getting through it, and then it'd just stop. Or then I'd get to a hill, and my bike just could not make it up it. I found myself walking that a lot more. CJ Ramstad / North Shore State Trail. That trail f***ing sucks. I hate it. I never want to see that trail again in my life because I want to ride my bike. I don't want to be hiking. I don't want to be wading through mud puddles and water that is almost up to my knee, with mud sinking in through my shoes, with my toes feeling like they are getting cemented together by mud. It sucked. I was having fun pretty much all day up until that point. Eventually, I got off of that, thank God. And I should have been recording it at this point. I wasn't, but I was with a group of guys. I mean, everyone was in the same boat. I'm bitching about this a lot, but everyone was in the same boat. But we got to the end of this trail and I could see the gravel. And I just very loudly said, "Oh, thank God." Like all the guys around me just started laughing. Thanks for having a sense of humor. Got to Onion River Road, and that was just a couple miles of gravel descent, absolutely gorgeous. And that takes you down to Highway 61, right around mile 93 to 94. And then you're on like a bike trail pretty much the whole time until you get back onto the Superior National Golf Course, do a loop through that to finish. Super fun finish environment, a lot of people cheering and all that. But I noticed when I got to the end of Onion River, once I got like out of the mud, my bike was kind of fucked. Jesse, before I left, waxed my chain with Ceramic Speed UFO wax.
The endurance stuff.
I did notice that it was working really well. Once I got through like the mud at mile 60 something on like the far out mud section, I did notice, I was like, man, my drivetrain's still pretty freaking quiet. Like I'm super impressed. By the end, the last trail did it in.
Did you notice that it got faster in the first 3 hours?
No.
Oh, that's okay.
I cannot confidently say that I noticed that. Was I feeling great? I learned how to ride on my fucking fork. I was going faster in general. I can't say for sure that it was the chain that helped me get my zoomies, but...
We're going to have to try that wax whenever it's a muddy race.
Yeah. For the majority of the race, my drivetrain was so quiet. It worked really great. The end, getting onto that last section of gravel, it really just did not want to move. So finish the race. I know people are going to shit on me in the comments for still having a muddy bike 2 days after the race. They had like a bike valet with volunteers washing your bikes. I didn't want to stand in line for that. And then they had one singular hose to wash your own bike. I stood in line for that for like 45 seconds. And then I was like, I don't want to stand here. My legs are kind of done. I just walked away, and now we're here and I'm about to scrub my bike down because this is not okay. Pretty much the rundown of Lutsen 99er. I'm being so dramatic about the mud. I have had people tell me, and from everything I've seen, I believe this. Last year, the mud was 4 times as bad with about 6 additional miles of that. I would have straight up died if that was the case.
Do you think they should do this race a different month or something? Like, what's the deal?
That's what I want to know. So like, if you're watching this and you've done this race before, I have so many questions. I was like looking up results from previous years, and from like 2021 through now, every year, the 99er distance is wildly different from looking at like the results on Athlinks. This year it was 97 miles. The previous year was like 74 miles, and we had 80 something miles. Seems very all over the place. I know like this year they had to change the course a little bit, and they added in the god-awful trail at the end because the mountain bike trail that they typically finish on, I guess, was under construction and wasn't done. This year's finish was a little bit different, but I just don't understand it. I've been told by so many people that the North Shore up there has so many awesome mountain bike trails, and I want to know more about it. And like, is it always that muddy? It got to the point where it just was not fun. I do think I would go back to this race. I've sat on it for a few days. The area was just so beautiful and so cool, and there's so much up there that I want to spend more time and ride and check out vibes and all that. It was great. I do think I would drop down to the 59er. Personally, for me, I like that distance better. I'm better at that distance. The only reason I'm doing the 100 milers this year is literally for Leadville. After that, I'm probably done with 100 milers, at least for mountain biking.
At least for like a year or two. I think if you like build up back to the 100 milers and like kind of do some more of the 60 mile distances.
If you've been around the channel for a little while, you know I'm literally just getting to the point where I'm getting truly back into racing, feeling great on a bike. I am in the best shape I've ever been in, so that's super freaking cool. But I am just like jumping in suddenly to doing these 100 milers, and I think the 60-ish would be a better fit for me. But this one was cool. I have it tentatively on my calendar for next year. Got my finisher's medal.
That's cool.
This is super cool. It's super hefty.
It's huge.
You just, like, They put this on at the end of the race, like right when you cross the finish line. And she put it on. I was like, oh God, this is like a hefty weight. I was like, I am so tired. I don't need this much weight around my neck right now, but it's so cool. They did a great job with these. It was just like a fun thing. Made me feel like I accomplished something there. What else is there?
I think you proved that you are going to be able to finish Leadville without getting pulled.
Oh yeah, I'm not concerned about that whatsoever.
I think you were though.
Oh, originally I was like, I mean, I know that I am in the best shape I've been in, but I was like a little iffy on Leadville. I was like, oh my God, can I do this? Yeah, now I'm officially not concerned whatsoever.
This was like 7.5 hours?
Yeah, it ended up being right around 7.5, and that was with me giving up and saying f it. And I definitely added a minimum of 45 minutes by doing that,
well,
and having that mentality. And
it's about half the amount of elevation, and it's not at altitude.
I'm not concerned.
Yeah, I think it'll be good.
Yeah, I'll be fine. This poor bike. As soon as I like got back to my truck and put it on my bike rack, I was like, oh God, poor bike. We finished, and I told Jesse, I was like, I think my bike is just broken now.
So next race, Leadville for you, right?
Yeah, we are about 5.5 or so weeks out from Leadville. As of right now, I'm racing the Epic. There might be a surprise bike change. Stay tuned to find out. We'll see. But yeah, that's gonna be my next race. I might try to find something small locally to do in July. We'll see. We are putting on a gravel race here July 13th, Karst Crusher. It's a Sunday. If you wanna come ride with us, Jesse and Trey will be out there riding, racing. I'm there to save you if you need it picked up. Don't need me, but to sign up for that, I'll include the links to that in the bio. If you want to mountain bike with us, we've got a mountain bike race too. September 6th, Hoosier Down Country, riding all of our local trails. Gosh, yeah, I think that's it.
Sweet.
Bye.